Not really the ideal day for boating. Being pretty cold and all that, but needs must. It's quite early. It's probably about nearly 9 o'clock by now. And after yesterday, I've realised now that I've changed my house battery bank, and it's fantastic, new batteries, but the starter batteries I assumed were okay, but now because it's cold, it's really starting to show how weak they are. They're very much on the way out. So I only just managed to get the engine started yesterday after a lot of faffing around, and got it started. So I charged the starter battery with the gardener, and this morning I got it to start. So that's cool. But the pressing problem is I need some jump leads so that I can always make the boat start. So I've looked around, Googled the local area, nothing around. The nearest place that I could conceivably find, but I'm not sure whether they have it, is a place about 6.5 miles bike ride away. 13-mile round trip, don't really want to do that. And alternatively, is to rock down the canal for 7.5 miles to Hinckley, and then they have lots of shops there that I can get exactly what I need. But I need some jump leads so I can always start. I can jump from my main battery bank to start the boat at any time. After that, I can then look at replacing the batteries, ordering them, and getting them delivered to the postman's restaurant in where was it? Faisley Junction. Yeah. So it's provided a bit more urgency for me to get my arse in gear and get moving down the canal. So that's the situation. Here we go. These ducks are going to miss me. I've taught them how to, because they're very shy because it's out in the countryside here. As I was saying, these ducks along here, they're all wild ducks. They're not used to human beings, so I'd go out and throw bread at them and they'd all run away. They'd all kind of flap off, and some would even fly away. Like, oh no, it's a human being. But gradually, every morning I've got up really early, or before I went to bed, fed them a couple of slices. And once you get one to come over and eat a bit, and the others like, hang on, what's going on? And then someone else comes over, and then they realise that there's a big feed going on. Then they come in, but they're still very shy, but they become a lot less shy. And I think they're going to miss me now because I'm going to go. I've made them dependent upon human beings for food. How evil of me. Bloody hell, the rope's frozen. Oh, there you go. Blimey. It's like electrical flex. I'm surprised they left these in the field. All frosty and damp. Better get a move on. Well, the weather forecast did promise some sun, and it looks like it's trying to break through. And it looks quite blue up there above the mist, so I might be lucky. As long as it's not raining, it's good. Well, the good news is that it's melting, but it's still pretty icy here. But the sun's just starting to warm it a bit. Over an aqueduct. What is it down there? A road? Yeah. What's that sign say? Yeah, the time for the ski gloves, I think. The step-toe gloves are just not quite doing the business. So ski gloves on top of the step-toe gloves. Ah, that's better. Much better. There's quite an elevated section on here. Looks like it's quite a large embankment it's on. I always think what an enormous amount of work with picks and shovels it was to build an embankment like this. Really high. In some ways it impresses me more than the tunnels because I can just see how much earth has been moved. On the way down I tried to moor along this side here because it's a lovely spot with the classic ridge and furrows opposite, but just open on the corner, beautiful, but I couldn't get the boat into the side, it's silted up, so I carried on. It's a lovely spot. The canal's actually quite shallow here, so if I don't stay directly in the middle, the back will climb up the left or the right, depending which end it's nearest to. I'm using more revs than necessary. Make it easier to control using less power. And actually go almost exactly the same speed. That's better. There's definitely a sweet spot to be obtained. And it has to be after the engine has warmed up for a bit, for a good half hour, till it's just sitting at its perfect operating temperature. And then the right amount of power exactly for the amount of water under the boat, because the boat's speed is limited by the topography, how much water under the boat there is, how wide the canal is, how much it can push water around the boat. And there's a bit where all those things are completely in tune and the engine is just humming along. Right now it sounds totally sweet because it's all warmed up and I'm not using any more fuel than is absolutely necessary. If I put on more power now, it will just make more turbulence and push the water around, make a fuss, but use more fuel, but the boat wouldn't go any faster, or just a very short amount, a little bit more fast, and it would start to get erratic. It would start to climb up the left hand or the right hand side of the canal, the back end, depending upon which it's nearest to. So all those things are perfectly aligned at this moment. It's the zen of it. Disused railway bridge. Woods. Yeah, that sun ain't coming through, and it's Baltic actually. I have to do my chin strap up. But having said that, it seems to be getting a little bit clearer. But when the wind blows, it isn't very strong, but it is cold. Stop at Sutton Wharf. It's a really nice friendly cafe. And we've finally got the sunshine. Did my water, emptied the toilet tank and dumped the rubbish, so I'm all set to carry on for Hinckley. So weather is looking up and got all my boaty stuff done, so prepared for another stretch on the canal in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, this is the Sutton Wharf from the water. I mean, that's a shiny boat. New paint job. So much nicer now that the sun's coming out. It's really nice and warm. What a difference. When the sun comes out, it's like being in a 1950s black and white film noir movie when it's all grey and dark. Suddenly I'm in a kind of Technicolor Hollywood special from the 60s. Oh look, it's one of them. This is worth catching this boat in its entirety. And the pièce de résistance. It's like the Undertaker's boat. Skulls and bones. Glorious day. Crispy and cold. Lovely. Lovely countryside. Yeah, it was just here where I was moored. I was there for I think 3 days, and when I was sitting down to work at my little desk which looks out through the window, during the day I keep the curtains open, and there was a robin that kept flying towards the window and pecking the window. It kept doing it. I mean, I heard this clicking in the morning. I couldn't figure out what it was until I finally figured out it was a robin that was in the hedge. It kept coming and attacking the window. For 3 days it kept doing it. And it's only near the end of the 3rd day that I figured out what it was. I've got reflective strips on my front 2 windows. So it must have been seeing a reflection of itself. And robins are very territorial. So it must have been attacking what it thought was an interloper in the hedge opposite, because I've got a perfect mirror. So that's what it must have been doing. I couldn't figure out why the hell is the bird doing that. It keeps banging on the window, flying towards it, pecking it, and then flying off. You know. So there you go. Stoke Golding, one of the finest churches in Leicestershire apparently, according to the guidebook. Looking boat. Brunel. Amazing, it's only 12:30. But already the sun's past its zenith this time of year, and I've only probably got about probably 4 hours of daylight left, which is okay because I'm about halfway on the journey, so I should arrive at my destination in Hinckley. Check the bridge. On time. Should have enough daylight. Bridge 27. Notice now that directly on my left is that same church, which was directly on my right before, because the last 3.5 miles of this canal have been extremely meandery. Not quite as bad as the Oxford on the Napton pound, but pretty close. From now on it's much straighter. Interesting crutch malarkey. Unusual. And here's another marina. I mean, I understand that it's a marina, but I always think this is a bit mean-spirited, no turning. So you're kind of asking boats to go another mile and turn around in the next winding hole. A bit mean, isn't it? I understand in summer where it might be a bit busy, but still it's mean-spirited. Nice old kind of canal side, canal-related buildings. Nice in the summer. I think that's it's a toilet and a cafe and a boatyard and a hire place, I think. Nice. Wharf. Traffic jam. Got a boat reversing into a mooring. And he's blocking the bridge. So I'm just waiting for a bit. Quite tricky to get that boat in there. It's quite long, it's quite thin, the hole. Good, we're back to the cute stone bridges. Ashby Canal trademark. But good, I'm on the home straight now. I've got about, let me see, a mile and a half to go. And I've got plenty of daylight in hand. Great, makes a change. Good that I'm on the home straight because my feet are getting cold and that wind is Baltic. But the sun's keeps coming out, so that's good. Anyway, so I'm on target. Just coming into Hinckley now, and the Ashby Canal is completely rural. It goes to one town only, and it's Hinckley. It passes kind of quite close to a few small market towns and a couple of villages, but it's rural all the way. And if you think you've heard of Hinckley before, you have. Marcus, it's where the same Hinckley that they manufactured Triumph motorcycles. It's a huge factory that way. It goes miles that way. So I just need to another couple of 100 yards and I'm at my destination. The urban environment, graffiti. I think the checklist, just live it. Oh, thank you for that philosophical insight there. No space. These are private on the left, and there was not much on the right. It's all been taken. The bits where there are no boats was mud. So, next bridge and beyond. It's sorted, moored up. I'm in Hinckley, but away from the marina. Some kind of mooring rings here. It's a nice place to moor. It's quite quiet, even though it's by a road, but I'm within striking distance of the big supermarkets and stuff. Yeah, so there's one boat here, my boat, and this one, which is also an Orion, same bow as mine, same boat manufacturer. So now I'm moored up. My original plan was to get here, then go and buy the jump leads. And it's about a mile away, and because I didn't have any sleep last night, I only needed the daylight to travel today, and the days are short. It meant that I had to go without sleep, so I'm flagging right now, so the jump leads can wait. And plus, now I'm here, I'm within striking distance, so I can just walk in and get them even if the boat doesn't start tomorrow, which it probably will, because we've just had a 5-hour run, and that's put X amount of charge into the starter batteries. Even though they're not holding charge very well, That's enough to power them. So it should start. You know, it's pumped a lot of juice into them. So that's pretty good. So I can chill out. I can have a cup of tea and then crash out, I think, with a bolsa de agua caliente, a hot water bottle in Spanish.